Good evening, everybody. Welcome to North American Grand Prix GT1 Thursday Night Live Racing coming to you from Le Mans, France. Before we go any further, let me introduce you to my co host, Mr. Jack Ivy. Good evening, sir.
Hey, Ken, good to be back. We missed a week of action, but it is good to be back Thursday night for our final two races.
Well, it is certainly good to have you back in the broadcaster's booth because I'll be honest with you, I forgot that you were on holidays and I was wondering where my broadcast buddy was last week. But nonetheless, you were in a sunny place. It was warm, but we missed you.
Hot tamales and cold tequila.
Hey, well, it's better than trying to sell red hot ice cream and frozen hot dogs, right?
It sure was. I know off for a little spring vacation there, but you know what? Geez, you miss a week around here and you miss all the action. So it looks like we had quite the turn of events at Indy when we were away.
Well, let's talk about Indy. Last week we saw a surprise victory where GM Racing's Gub Douglas and John McIntyre and Gub Douglas, one and two, they took a sweep of the top two spots, and that was Johnny Mac's very first GT1 win here at NAGP.
Yeah, and that was thrilling to see. I mean, everyone in the community was more than thrilled to see Johnny Mac take the win with Gup in second place. And you know, after taking a look at some of the race time sheets there, they were the most consistent drivers out there, and that's why they won.
That's right. They were not necessarily the fastest, but they were the most consistent. And I mean, you take a look at that rebroadcast if you had the opportunity. What wacky weather we had at Indianapolis last week. I've never seen anything like that before.
Well, you know, you get into these hour and a half races, and boy, oh boy, you know, we get into a 3 hour like we're going into next week for the grand finale. 3 hours, and our variable weather can play havoc. So these guys are back at it, and then I see we're out there on wet track for the 45-minute qualifying session tonight.
That we are, and boy, I tell you, it's what adds such a dynamic dimension to our racing here is the fact that we have all kinds of things that are thrown at these drivers. Their skills are challenged, their abilities are challenged week in, week out, and you know what? Week in, week out, we see the best of all these drivers come out of them. So we're expecting no less today. 45 minutes of open qualifying here at Le Mans. This is this is the second long track that we have during this season 22. The first being Nordschleife in Germany, and here we are in France with lap times in the 3-minute 40-second range.
Yeah, you know, I with the damn track out there, there's no way they're going to, you know, come close to the qualifying times they had last time they were here in season 18, which was 3:41 in qualifying. We're not going to get near there, but what this damp track or wet conditions does for me, Ken, is it sort of levels the playing field. You know, we can watch for just about any driver if they're smart with tire selection, if they're smart with their driving style. Any driver can make it up to the front during these conditions.
And last week was a testament to that very, very statement you just finished saying. Here at Circuit de la Sarthe, it's a long track, 8.469 miles, 38 turns. Okay, and during dry practice, we saw some lap times in the 3:42, like you said, Jack. Don't think we're going to touch that, but these guys are going to give it their best shot nonetheless.
Yep, last time they were here in season 18, Aaron Parsons, Ferrari 550, took the win with Andre Prado and Brad Maris. Prado and Maris, 2-3 in the big Ford GT1. So, again, Maris and Prado out there with big power Vipers, big power track, and unfortunately, Andre's carrying a bag load of rocks in the back of his vehicle. He's got 60K on. He didn't get a chance to burn that off last week, so boy, we're looking for another good finish.
You know, weight here can either make you or break you, to the point where you. I would imagine that drivers with any kind of success ballast, penalty ballast, are gonna want to stay close to somebody quick to be able to get some pull around this track, and hope for better lap times as your fuel count drops. You still got that success ballast, but you do drop some of the weight because of the fuel. And I would imagine that anybody with any kind of success ballast is going to be looking to do just that. Just kind of latch onto somebody's rear bumper and hope for the best.
Yeah, and talking about latching onto somebody's bumper, we were watching earlier in the practice, and I was a little surprised to see them running nose to tail, Prado and Maris. But I shouldn't have been. I guess I should be more surprised that more of the teams aren't out there nose to tail practicing the draft.
I have to agree. The benefits are huge here. Absolutely huge. Mulsanne straight, long straight. Some of these cars getting up to 199 miles an hour. Rich Roman, perfect example. We're on board with him right now, watching him through the TV cam. This guy gets up to about 199 before the first Mulsanne chicane. And, I'd like to be tucked in behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to see the teammates hook up that way as well. So hopefully we can see some of that going on. I'm sure we're going to see that during the big 3-hour feature next week, when it's going to be, tire wear and fuel is going to play into this a little more than this half-hour dash for the cash.
You are absolutely right. And, we're talking about some of the drivers that we see driving around the track here. One driver to make mention of whom I have not seen, Marco Conti. Haven't seen him around in a while. So, Marco, if you're watching this, boy, we'd love to have you back.
Yeah, I miss that guy. Come on back, Marco. And if you're not coming back, send your brother Corrado out. He was a pretty decent driver as well.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So here we are, early qualifying, and nobody yet to post up a first lap. So we're just going to have to wait and see how things go around here. But we know that a couple of guys are on hot laps right now. Alex White being one of them, currently sitting in the second spot, but no time posted as he comes to the end of the Mulsanne straight.
Well, Chris Moses is probably going to cross the line first, from what I can see on the timing sheet here. He looks like he was first out and first leading the pack, and that's in a 550, and we know Parsons took that to the winner's circle last time out.
Yep, absolutely. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Chris Moses is looking very racy out there. Tail end fishtailing. I think he's behind either Poole or Werner right now. And don't know if that's going to hamper his times or give him some benefit with a draft down these long straights. But we'll have to see, as he is now headed towards the finish. He is in Sector 3, headed towards the start-finish line.
Well, we've seen Chris step up his game to another level. So I'm sure this is going to continue for the last couple of races of our GT series in both Monday and Thursday night here at NAGP.
Oh, I have no doubt. No doubt. Chris is not ready to let it go yet, and there is no changing of the guard as yet. Chris is saying, I still got it. And he's been sewing together a phenomenal season. He is all over the grass right now. He had to take it back to the garage.
Wow. Yeah, I got tucked in behind a slower car there, and that he's not going to be happy with that. Looks like Alex White is coming around, and he is tucked in behind some guys too. So got a little bit of clean air there, so he might be able to get a timed lap in. Although Maris has just pointed up a 3:49, 9:29. And just got taken away by John Ludden.
And Alex White, 3:45. So Alex bumping everybody down. And 3:45s, boy, I got to tell you, it's about 3 seconds slower than we seen the fastest lap out here in the dry conditions.
Yeah, when you said bumping everybody down, he threw it down, as far as I'm concerned. That's a 3-second advantage over Aaron Parsons.
Yeah, that's quite significant around this place. So, I was listening in on some conversation in the pits in the paddock, and one thing that was mentioned is that if you're not running one wing around this place, you're not in the hunt. That is verbatim what was stated. And one wing is probably what most of these guys are running, considering the fact of the long straights, and it's just a high speed track. And I'm sure that the crew chiefs have set these cars up for as much mechanical grip as they can get out of them.
Well, one wing, that first and last sectors are going to be a handful, and I don't know if I'd really want to be hanging on to that wheel for 3 hours in those first and last sectors on a 1-1 wing.
Oh, given the conditions today with a damp track, 74-degree temperature out on the track, and an ambient of 65, it's pretty cool out here today, Jack. So, probably going to be a little difficult to get some really good heat in those tires, considering the track conditions today.
Yeah, just taking a look. I was out there with Marty Uren, and he is really, really close to Sector 1 times, to the time set by our provisional pole setter. So Marty out there with the Ferrari F40 doing a great job.
Yep, I just caught up with you, and we are now watching Marty as he comes around the second Mulsanne straight chicane to try and put down the best lap that he can.
Yeah, now, just to bring everybody up to date, it looks like the team championship for GT1 is pretty much a lock with Andre Prado and Brad Maris. Just outpointing everybody. Even though Andre missed last week's race, they've still outpointed everybody this season. So a big shout out to Andre and Brad on another fantastic Anger Racing Championship.
Yeah, that day did, and as you pointed out, it's pretty incredible that he was able to miss last week. Not really score any points, but they're sitting up there with 230 points in precision motor racing. 168 points, so that's some 70 points back. It's going to be real difficult now to catch these guys, so that's sewed up. However, the driver championship.
Talk about cloak.
We've got a four-way race for the lead right now, and I was just quickly looking. At this. Looking at the lap times being placed down here, Alex White, Aaron Parsons. Aaron Parsons is in the lead of that driver championship. I'll tell you what, if Aaron Parsons can pull out a win here, it's in the bag for him. But can't count out the likes of Brad Maris, John Ludden, and even Chris Moses. Next week's 3-hour feature race, we can get all dry weather, and you know what? These guys will be really fast, and they know what's on the line: the driver championship, the prestige, the accolades, and the prizes that go along with it. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be putting it all on the line next week, Jack.
I couldn't agree with you more. I just watched Marty Uren go from P10 to P4, but Parsons, Maris, Ludden, and Moses, they're all going to be in the hunt for blood. I mean, they're so tight. It is such a competitive race season for them for the GT1 championship. It's great to see.
Absolutely. So right now, current pole sitter Alex White in P1, Aaron Parsons in that McLaren F1 sitting in P2, and John Ludden in P3. So you have two of your top 4 points chasers right now sitting in really good positions.
Yeah, but I'm still just stunned by that lap that White has thrown out there. He's still, 2.5 seconds over or under Aaron Parsons. I mean, this is huge time for these guys to try and gather up. I don't know if they can do it.
Well, I don't know if they can do it either, but given the circumstances surrounding the race and the chase for the points, not to take anything away from our current pole sitter, but I think next week's feature race is where it's going to count the most.
Yeah, definitely. This, of course, the top two drivers are going to cement their positions for next week's start. But the race is all about getting in good position, not to let these front runners run away with it. Top 10 spots on the grid here are going to be very important for next week.
That indeed. So yeah, we have a 30-minute qualifying race scheduled to go a max of 6 laps around this circuit, and as Jack pointed out, that will determine the grid for next week's 3-hour feature race. And boy, I got to tell you, Jack, um, announcing a 1.5 hour race is a challenge in and of itself, boy. But 3 hours, so gonna be bringing a large jug of water and some coffee, some snacks, and yep, we'll be ready.
Yeah, we definitely will. I just watched Aaron Parsons go through the first sector there at 4/10 of a second off of Alex White. So if he can keep up this pace, he will definitely improve, but he is not quite as fast as the White Lightning is out there. But we have seen Alex White get a little carried away with that speed and actually chunk some races by, I'm just going to say, by driving too fast.
Well, we saw that at Spa, right? We saw that at the Mid-Season Classic, where coming through Blanchimont, he turned it into the fence, and that was the end of it. His race day was over. So, yeah, we've seen it before.
Well, they've only got 6 laps tonight, but these are big, long laps. So, they may be able to hang on to that, high speed, low lap times for 6 laps, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it for a 3-hour endurance race.
Yep. Tonight it's all about laying down the fast laps. So each and every one of these drivers driving their cars on the absolute edge of losing control. And so, again, it's all about qualifying, right? And 45 minutes of it. So there's plenty of time to feel your car out, get that set up just right to get out there. And again, I know that the track conditions are probably wreaking a little bit of havoc with these guys, and they probably wish they had better conditions, but it is what it is. We can't control the weather.
Yeah, and just over there at the timing board, and we've had a big change up here.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Alex White's still in P1, but Chris Moses has jumped into P2, Brad Maris into 3, and Roman into 4th. Pushed Aaron Parsons all the way down into P5.
Boy, these guys are holding nothing back, but I'll tell you what, if you look at the difference between Roman and Parsons, you're talking about maybe a little bit over a 1,000th of a second. So not much separating them there. So Parsons probably with another opportunity to try and better his time. But Alex White, Chris Moses, John Ludden now with a 346.
Yep, they're all coming back. Another name up on the board there I'm really pleased to see is our Mr. Smooth, Gregory Myers, who, has really, I got to hand it to Greg. He hated qualifying. He always thought it was, maybe not the most important part of racing here at NAGP, but this season he's really stepped up his qualifying efforts, and he's sitting in P9 right now, so good on you, Greg.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what? Qualifying, in my opinion, is just as important as the race, especially when you have the talent as such as someone like Gregory Myers. He's a past champion. He's a fast driver, and certainly I would, given the talent that this gentleman has, I would certainly put just as much emphasis on my qualifying times as the race as well. But to each his own. He's got his methodology. But good to see him up there. He did get bumped down to P10 now as the boss puts up a 352, and more to come.
Well, good on Big Al, because we know that 550 Ferrari, it won here last time out, so we know that car can do it.
That indeed. And look at this. Jonathan Cuppet now driving the Corvette C5 up in P8, laying down a smoker his last time around.
Well, I'm following Andre Prado around, and he's about a second, 1.4 seconds off pole position, just coming around to the last sector now. So he's definitely going to jump up from P17. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, we remember that he's carrying 60 kilos around this track, and that's got to be pretty hard. But then again, you know what? Andres Prado, great driver, super talented, able to drive just about anything. He'll drive a semi around here just as well.
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity for him to burn off that ballast before the big feature race.
Yes, sirree. So we'll stay on board with Prado for a little while as he is getting ready to come across the start-finish line in another corner or two.
Oh, close.
Oh,
P7.
P7. Yeah, very good. And with 132 pounds of ballast.
Yeah, I sure would. Well, no, I can't say that. I'd love to be carrying 6S ballast.
Yeah, for the reasons that he's carrying it, absolutely.
And Gup Douglas down in 13th and Johnny Mack in 15th. Same with them. They're going to burn off some of this ballast, and that's going to fare them well for a big 3-hour feature.
I gotta tell you, Jack, I don't think these guys much care the fact that they're carrying that ballast around this week. Last week was something of an absolute miracle for these guys. The fact that they finished 1-2, Johnny Mac's first win. These guys are still reeling from last week. As a matter of fact, if you did get a chance to watch the broadcast from last week, he came out and said it. His family was around him celebrating because I guess yeah, he probably just yelled out "I won" at the end of the race, and everybody's coming around in disbelief, like, really? So he got to celebrate with his family.
Yeah, that's got to be a special feeling that I've never experienced. But getting your first win here with all these talented guys out there has got to be pretty special. Juan Monroy's another one who had his first win this year at NAGP. Boy, I've never heard a more emotional guy than Juan when he won. So it's got to be a pretty special feeling. Puts you in an elite group of drivers.
Well, we can certainly say that season 22 has been a season of firsts around here, so it's been good, and I expect nothing less but better times ahead as we progress into future seasons here at NAGP.
Yeah, interesting. I'm just taking a look at the timing board there. Alex White's only got one time lap in, along with Chris Moses. John Ludden's got a pair of them in. Marty's got a bunch of them in, but White and Moses, they've only got one time lap in each.
Well, I can only imagine that it's real difficult to get several timed laps in around here, especially with the traffic out on track. And you know what? It's such a long circuit, long lap times. You're talking over 3.5 minute lap times that if you jack up a corner, do you keep it going? I'm pretty sure these guys are out there with minimal fuel just to be able to do an outlap and a fast flyer. I don't imagine
Yeah,
them.
so if they can see their timing's not right, these guys are good enough to get off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And again, we still have 22 minutes of qualifying, so you figure you need about 7 minutes total. And here we go, Alex White setting another fast lap. Once again, making it that much more difficult for these guys to try and catch him. 3:45.1.
Dropped another 0.8 of a second off, and you know what? He's not satisfied. He has got the car fueled up, and he's going back out again.
Incredible. Alex White having had a bit of a difficult season here in GT1. We know that he's suffered some ISP problems, disconnect issues throughout the season. I guess at this point, Alex may be thinking, I'd like to get a win in and just show that my driving capabilities are still up there. And if my ISP will just cooperate with me, I will show them just that.
Yeah, and I got to. Oh, I just watched John Ludden as he had a decent lap going, but got caught up behind a slower driver. But I got to hand it to these guys in other time zones on the planet that are joining us from Australia and from the UK, from Eastern Europe. Thanks. You can't imagine how happy it is for me to see these guys from all over the world joining us here at crazy, crazy local times.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Boy, because man, Aaron Parsons in Australia, it's already tomorrow. Well into tomorrow, as a matter of fact, in Australia.
Well, not too bad for Aaron. I don't know what he actually does, but I'm thinking he's doing this around his lunchtime. But the guys in the UK and Eastern Europe, it's the middle of the night for these guys. So good on you for joining us week after week.
Yep, certainly appreciate it, and it makes things interesting around here, no?
It sure does. Truly an international sim race league.
That indeed. That indeed. So, I just switched over to our chat board on the Twitch TV, and I see that we have Alex Scott with us tonight. He says there that he's got the NAGP race on while I pull an all-nighter working tonight. So, sorry that you got to work tonight, Alex, but welcome. I hope you enjoy the broadcast.
Yeah, welcome to you, Scotty, and I got to thank you again out loud for some of the setup tips you've given me in the past. I will definitely be calling on you again, so get ready.
So we saw earlier that Prato, I'm on board with Prato, and he had gotten P7. However, he has gotten bumped back down to P9. David Poole up to P10 and Andrew Werner in P11. But Big Al is now up in P8. So that 550 Maranello looking mighty sharp around Circuit de la Sarthe. Aaron Parsons gets bumped down to 7th. And some of the folks that were in the lower positions are starting to make their way up. Marty Uren in 6th.
Yeah, we might be experiencing a little drying on the track. I'm on with Aaron Parsons right now, so he's coming around to finish. So, he's pushing hard in that McLaren. But you know what? I think he's going to have a decent time and is going to collect up a couple of spots here.
No doubt. Brad Maris managed to get himself up into 2nd position now with a really fast lap. So as he just came down into the Mulsanne corner, he's trying to... Well, he's on an outlap right now, so not much going on with Brad Maris. Aside from that, he's probably...
Parsons just jumped up to P3.
Yep, just caught that. Rich Roman in 4th. And boy, I got to tell you that Rich Roman during practice, he was really, really fast. But this damp track has dampened some of his efforts here because we know that Corvette is super, super fast down these straights. But having to slow down a little bit too much for these corners has slowed down his times just a little bit.
Well, you mentioned Roman, and, I was doing some quick math in my head, which is not a safe thing for me to do, Ken. There's not much left up there. But if Parsons, Maris, Ludden, and Moses all crash out in the final next week, Roman, if he wins this thing, could tie Parsons for the championship.
At 134 points. I did that math a little bit earlier, and you are absolutely right. And wouldn't that be interesting? What happens? Do we do a tiebreaker?
Yep. Boy, that's a good suggestion, Ken. Take a short track and give them a 5-lap race off.
I'll tell you what, give them a couple of NASCARs on a short oval.
Yeah, but you know what? These guys should drive any car on any track anyway.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But yeah, that would be pretty interesting if we did see some type of a scenario like that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that both of those guys would be up and willing for that.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt they love to race, so if it came down to a race off, but we'll have to see what happens next week, Jack Boy, because I'm telling you, like you say, I think we're going to see a barn burner here for 3 hours.
Yeah, and talking about barn burners, Ken, these half-hour races can be spectacularly intense.
Yeah, you're not kidding, boy. And we want to apologize to the folks that are watching by television right now. We try to cover as much as we can. These 30-minute races are really they wreak havoc on our broadcasts, and you guys know that. We've done it earlier in the season. We're going to do it again tonight for you guys, but we'll try and fit everything in as much as we can.
Yeah, I was just checking out, farther down in the pack, John Watson, down at 20th, hasn't got a timed lap in yet, and looks like he's got his hands full out there. So hopefully John is just using this as a practice warm-up for the feature race next week.
I
And something else. Sportelli's in the bins. I don't see. He hasn't been. I haven't seen John out on track. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Not sure either. I do see that John Houston has posted up a lap, went from P18 to P11. Good on John Houston. Andrew Warner in 12th. Speaking of Wathan, I had just gotten on board with him just before you mentioned him, and I was watching as his car was just all kinds of squirrely through the S's coming onto the front straightaway, and it reminds me of when we had the French connection that were driving the GTRs several seasons back.
Yeah, yeah, those guys. They ran with literally no wing all season, and were just like sliding the bejesus out of those cars. So that was interesting in those Nissans.
Yep, that it was. So Sergio Calderon in P18, he's heading out of the pits now. Gonna try and lay one down. We've got 14 minutes of qualifying left here tonight. John McIntyre, P17, carrying around his 88 pounds of success ballast. Bjorn Heyman in P16. Gregory Myers in the pits, but he's currently sitting P15. Gup Douglas in P14, also in the pits. Jonathan Cuppet. Jonathan Cuppet had made his way up to P7, but he has gotten bumped down to P13 right now, driving the Corvette C5.
Yeah, the track, we've got some sunny conditions out there right now, or sunnier. Track might be drying out a little bit as these guys start dropping their times down, so conditions might be getting better, so it might be an opportunity for these guys to put in a last-ditch effort.
Well, the track temperature certainly has gone off, and we were talking earlier about some MIA drivers. Paul Hall, Jonathan Cuppet's partner, teammate. Not sure what happened to him. We're gonna have to tap Jonathan Cuppet and try and find out. Our super snooper news reporters around here. Try and get you the scoop on that. But yeah, Paul Hall has been MIA.
Yeah, and Ian, I haven't seen Ian out for a while. I know he's got crazy schedules and lots of holiday time, so we'll have to find out what's up with Ian. But if he can make any race, I know he'll be back for the 3-hour finale.
Yeah, I have to agree. I know that Ian loves this place. He loves this league. So real world issues do pop up, and they do take precedence over our hobbies, unfortunately, but they do. On board with Bjorn Heyman sitting in P12, driving that Koenigsegg. Out on a hot lap right now. Getting close to the Sector 1 line. Let's see how he does. coming down
Well,
the
I
front.
was just watched Johnny Mack going through the into the last sector. He's about 5 seconds off, but if he can hold that, that is going to jump him right up from 17. If he can hold that up there, he may end up in 12th or 13th.
Not bad. Bjorn Heyman 1.7 seconds off the pole pace, coming through the first sector. He is now in sector 2 with an opportunity to perhaps improve just a little bit more because looks like if he can get close enough, he can get some pull off of one of the Ferraris.
Well, we have seen those Ferraris seem to like this track.
Oh, Bjorn takes it wide and into the kitty litter, and he parks it.
Well, I'm still on board with Johnny McIntyre, last week's winner, as he's coming around into through the final stages, and let's see if he can improve from P18.
Yes, sir. We're gonna go on board with Johnny Mac.
Not enough.
Nope.
Again, carrying that bag load of ballast.
And you know what? We got to give it to him. Give him the credit that he deserves. He's doing the best that he can with that much weight. We know that the weight is affecting the performance of the car here. It's weighing it down, and might as well just have slapped a 210 wing setup on there with all that weight that they're carrying around. But hey, he's happy. I know he is.
Hey, he's a winner.
He's a winner, that's right. He can no longer partake in the best of the rest.
No, he will definitely be taking part of the Race of Champions, which I'm going to have to talk to those guys and see when that Race of Champions is going to be held. I haven't heard much. Just to let you guys know, I haven't heard much about the off-season and what we're going to be doing, other than Brad Maris did say that he was all up and ready, had some instructors lined up, so it looks like we're going to have some mid-season driving school again.
Yep, absolutely. And I believe that Shoobs, who's also out on the chat room, may be plotting something of a fun series for us. At least I hope so. And Shoobs, remember what I told you the week that we broadcasted together? I want to be on the beta team.
Good luck, Kenny.
I want to be on the beta team representing the guys that are not that fast, okay? And I'll tell you how you can improve the cars to make us faster.
All right, so out there, we've only got a couple of laps for these guys to get out left. With 8 minutes left, they've got a hot lap and an out lap, and maybe if they took the fuel, they could do an out lap and 2 hot laps. But White's in first, Parson in seconds, Ludden in third, Maris in fourth, David Poole in fifth.
Well, Parsons has managed to pull up on the heels of Alex White, our White Lightning. He is... let's take a look at the timing board here with a 3:45.0. He's about 0.02 of a second off of Alex White's pace.
Yeah, it's good. I know these two guys from opposite ends of the planet will definitely be pushing each other. But, we've got Chris Moses sitting in 6th and Big Al in 10th. So those Ferrari 550s, they're looking decent for the 3-hour finale. Along with Maris in, P4 and Prado in P9, there's another pair. Once Prado burns off that excess weight, they're going to be a team to contend with on the finale as well.
Well, no doubt that perhaps Prato's strategy is to finish worse than 7th, I believe, to burn off all of the weight?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think 6 you still retain a little bit, and 7 it's all gone. So, but you know what? These guys don't care. They're going to finish where they finish and keep the weight at what they have and race with it. For these guys, it's all about finishing higher in the standings, higher in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alex White now on a flyer. I think he may be doing really well on this one because he gave Jonathan Cuppett the light business, just asking him to get by and not hamper his advancement. So we'll have to see here as he's getting ready now to come through the front S's here at Le Mans.
Now that I see, Sportelli has not been out. Maybe Thomas can shed some light on us, because I know I missed a race. I know you missed a race too. Fastest lap by Alex White. Holy jumping.
Yep, 3:42. John Ludden now up to P2 with a 3:44. So looks like, let's go back and take a look at the track conditions. It's still saying that it's damp, but apparently not damp enough to slow these guys down. Hey, Jack?
Yeah, and you know what? White just finished that lap, and he's back out again. I mean, slow down, White Lightning. I mean, you've slapped a 2-second advantage over P2, but still not happy. There was something about that lap. He thought, I guess he figures he can go faster. But, I'm back to Sportelli. He might be serving a penalty, because I haven't seen him around in a while. He might be carrying a penalty from previous, but I know he's in the vent room. I know he's in communications with the rest of the drivers. So it might be a penalty issue that he's caught up with him.
Very, very true there, Jack. I didn't think about that, but that's a real quick one to figure out, considering that we can just go back and sure enough, well, no, he did get a conduct warning after the Zandvoort, but let's see here. And if he did not race last week, then he's carrying over a no-qual from Daytona for a start line incident.
Well, there is a reason he's not out there. We're not quite sure, but that's not like John Sportelli to sit out.
And Sportelli did not attend the Daytona race, so that is why he is sitting it out today. He's serving his no-qual. You are absolutely right. So the Super Snoopers figure it out.
Well, sometimes it's tough from up here to figure out what's going on. Marty Uren just threw down a great lap to put him into P4.
Very, very nice. On board with Parsons. Ludden in P2. Alex White still in P1. He's on an out lap, as is Ludden, but Parsons on a flyer right now. We're going to stick with Parsons to see how he does coming into the first sector, and boy, he is just keeping his foot pegged against the firewall there.
Yeah, all your top 10 drivers other than Marty, who just finished, are on hot laps, and it looks like Al Merriman's coming around the last final corners, which will probably be his last lap. And he maintains his P10 and parks it. Looks like Rich Roman will be the next one coming through. He's about 20 seconds out from the finish.
Oh, Parsons, that was just 4/100ths of a second off the pace, slams into the wall. Still coming down the Mulsanne straight, but no doubt with aero damage. Yep, and he beat up his left front fender there, and that no doubt is going to have an impact on his top speeds here.
Okay, Kenny, I was just watching Rich Roman. He's just entering the last sector. He is only 1.5 seconds off, and that's good enough to move him up if he can hang on and really get the hammer down in the last sector.
Yep, we're on board with Rich Roman. gonna be really hard coming through these S's now. You gotta keep it consistent and tight and fast. Rich Roman currently in P8. Coming by the Ferris wheel. Nearly loses it. Wow. .6 puts him up in P4.
And you might want to jump on with Chris Moses as he comes around to finish, because he has got a dandy lap going as well.
Woo. Takes it to the fence.
A little door slapper off that one. That'll cost him a little bit, but he is pushing hard.
Well, I got to tell you that I saw Chris Moses out here late last night. All the fast guys come out late, because I think they feel that they are keeping their secrets from everybody, but he was laying down some smokers last night. He's not quite as fast tonight as he was yesterday, but nonetheless, P8.
Yeah, and we got David Poole coming in right behind him. Currently sitting in P7.
Yep, David Poole across the start-finish line, 2.6.
Wow.
P4.
And jumps him up to P4.
Boy, and I think that might be everybody. Not sure if anybody is still left out. Oh, we still have Sergio Calderon on a hot lap. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get this one in.
Ludden might just do it, but it's going to be really nip and tuck, and you're right. I don't think Calderon or White is good. White's definitely out, but Ludden may just squeak it in. But might not.
Boy, I don't know. He might. He might get it in. He may get across that start-finish line just in time. And P2 for
not
John
enough.
Ludden. Yep, not enough.
That was his fastest lap, though.
Oh, and Sergio does not get it in, so...
So good effort by all those guys. Again, Alex White putting a slap down. You know, it seems to me that on any given track, any one of these top guys can lay down a slap to the rest of the field. And I'm not picking out any one driver. Any one driver who likes the course, has good control over their car, can put a real slap on these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible what we saw here tonight, considering that we do have a little bit of a light field tonight, only 20 drivers that are competing. I'm hoping that that does change for next week, and we hope that anybody that typically drives GT1 that's not driving tonight, you guys can make it out next week. Would be a really nice thing. So we switched over to qualifying 2 right now. The drivers are attending their drivers meeting. Maybe a good time for a little bit of housekeeping, Jack. What do you think?
Go ahead, Kenny.
So we want to remind you folks out there that are watching the broadcast that NAGP is fully supported by your donations. We don't charge you to race, but it's not free to run the service that we offer here. And month after month, Al Merriman makes sure that we have a top-notch, high-quality league to race in, and you know, a bunch of friends that get together and we compete week after week. So if you like what you see and you're enjoying the broadcast and you feel compelled, why don't you go ahead and reach into your pocket, toss us a couple of bucks every month. It's not a lot, $5-10. Every little bit helps to make things run smoothly around here.
Yeah, well said, Kenny. You know, it only takes a couple of bucks, and dig in, guys. With all the members we have here, it's only going to take a few bucks a month for everybody. And I know everybody's got a few bucks. You spend it on coffee every day. You can spend it on your favorite hobby as well. So help us out. Lots of great interaction you're going to get here at NAGP. Lots of friends, good people. There's always something going on. So dig in. Don't be cheap. Throw us some money. We could use it. These broadcasts aren't cheap to put on.
Nope, they cost millions of dollars per season.
I don't know where Al gets all the money to pay us, Ken.
And at that, we don't do commercials. We give you uninterrupted race coverage. So, yeah.
Well, what are you thinking about tonight there, Ken? We got White, Ludden, Maris, and Parsons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, when you go from 4 to 10, any one of these guys, top-notch drivers, what are you thinking out there? Now, with a damp track, they're not going to have as much grip to start this race as they normally would if we would have had dry qualifying conditions.
Well, here's the thing. We know that whatever the weather is at the end of the warm-up is the weather that they will get for the race. Right now, we just switched over to warm-up, and they got 61 dry and a 49 ambient. Very cold temperatures. Going to be hard to get some heat into these tires. I'll tell you this much. If we get this for the 30-minute race, I don't know, man, but I just can't help that Rich Roman may... I don't feel that... Rich Roman has been improving race after race this entire season. We saw him in one race where he came from all the way in the back and finished within the points. He has been pushing as hard as he possibly can. I think that if we get the ideal conditions, Rich Roman will not be denied tonight.
Yeah, good choice. I mean, when we watch Rich, as you mentioned, pick up 26 spots in one race. And the other guy, I'm not going to count this guy out. A man possessed, this season, and Chris Moses, I can't count him out. I just would not count Chris out for either tonight or the main feature.
Well, the one thing that we know for sure is that Chris Moses has been putting in the work this season. He has held no he's held no shorts. He's taken no shorts. He's been out there week after week practicing, developing good setups, and just laying down the gauntlet, really. So, good choice. Chris Moses certainly fully capable of winning here tonight and next week's feature race as well.
But there is still no denying the fact that Alex White has just shown when he puts his nose to the grindstone that he can lay down some just stupid times out there. And I got to tell you, I think here in this damp track condition in qualifying, that was just a stupid fast time for Alex White.
Yeah, it certainly was. No doubt it was. For him to be able to get what they were doing in the dry times, in dry conditions, absolutely incredible. But it's going to be 30 minutes dash for the cash, as you say, Jack. And no doubt that they'll lay it all on the line tonight. It's only 20, but it's still, it might as well be 40 as far as they're concerned. Doesn't matter. They're all going to put a really good effort in to try and get at the best finishing position tonight. We know that pole and second have locked in their spots, but the rest of the field, man, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, White and Ludden, 1-2. Yeah, we've seen White, get off the line extremely fast. He's got his little tricky start. I don't know if it works in this car, but he's got his little tricky start maneuver that he makes. I have seen, though, John Ludden not been so consistent on the starts. So, he's got Brad Maris and Aaron Parsons right behind him. You know that Maris and Parsons are, commanding at all aspects of this race. So Ludden is going to get swamped at the start if he is not Johnny on the spot tonight.
So here we have John Sportelli now out on the track. He was serving his no qual, but now he's able to get out on the track for warm-up and slams it into the fence. So just take it easy out there, John Sportelli. Drive the best race that you can. We're pulling for you.
Yeah, and John is in one of his favorite rides, too. John just loves those Ferraris, so it's a car he's familiar with. Zakari likes, so I am sure that we are not going to see John sitting down in P20 by the end of this race.
And boy, oh boy, Jack, you must be a prophet tonight because having entered during Quali 2, Ian Jolicoeur.
Oh, good on Ian. I'm glad to see Ian just joined us. Must have got off his shift late. Our man in blue up here in Canada, racing out of the Mosport track area. So, yeah, there's another guy to keep an eye on. You can bet he has got that thing trimmed out, and he is going to be moving up from P23. So we got to keep our eyes on these guys. Jolicoeur and Sportelli, I'm going to keep my eye on them from the back for you, Ken, because those guys are going to be out to move forward because they're not going to want to start this 3-hour feature that far back in the pack.
Nope, absolutely not. We just hope that Ian did get the opportunity to get some practice in. Will certainly be beneficial for him here tonight during this 30-minute dash race.
Oh, he's such a wacky guy. I mean, I've never met anybody like Ian. He shows up for a race asking what track are we at and how many laps it's going to go, and still ends up in the points. So he's another one of these guys that's really talented and a lot of fun to have around here at NAGP. So glad to see Ian show up tonight.
Yep, absolutely. So we have about 15 seconds left of warm-up. You guys have heard our picks for the night. And we're just going to have to see how this all plays out. It's only 30 minutes around an 8+ mile track, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, with just 6 laps, it is going to be exciting. Man, I gotta, while we got a couple of seconds left, I gotta thank everybody for letting Kenny and I do the broadcast, because we have as much fun broadcasting as you guys do racing. So thanks again to Al and Chris and all the rest of you drivers who thank us for the job we do. We're having fun. We hope you guys are too.
Yep, absolutely. And boy, Ian Jolicoeur, having just come in, looks like he got caught out there on the track. He is currently stuck.
And currently lost.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That absolutely sucks.
Yeah, that does.
Well, Ian only lives about a couple of miles away from me, and I can hear him screaming in the background, folks, so it's not a good thing here.
Well, we have switched over to the race session. Jack, why don't you go ahead and start running them down?
White Lightning, Alex White in P1 with John Ludden in second. Brad Maris, our driving instructor extraordinaire, in third. And the wonder from down under, Aaron Parsons, in fourth. David Poole will start fifth.
And Rich, I will not be denied Roman starting in P6. Marty Uren in P7. Chris Moses, the pit wizard, will start from 8th, and Andres Preto in 9th. And the boss, Al Merriman, will round out your top 10.
Bjorn Heyman in P11. Good on ya, Greg. Mr. Smooth Myers in P12. John Houston in 13th. Andrew Werner in 14th. And Gup Douglas in P15.
Mr. Jonathan Cuppet starting in P16. Sergio Calderon will start 17th. Mr. Wathen in 18th. Johnny McIntyre, last week's winner, in P19. John Sportelli will start in P20. And that's it.
As you said, a light field, probably, Ken, the lightest field I've seen in I don't know how long.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. Disappointing considering that our fields in the beginning were really starting out nicely. But it does happen. We understand that real world issues do take precedence over virtual racing. But we do like to see our folks show up for racing nonetheless. So 10 seconds to green. And we are on board with your leader, Mr. Alex White. And the lights are coming on. And they're off. And boy, Alex White with the whole shot, but Brad Barris right behind him. And oh, looks like Andres Prado takes it off into the kitty litter back there. Looks like it's pretty clean for the most part. We're going to cycle through the field here for you guys. David Poole drops back down to P7. Chris Moses in 8th, and Big Al Merriman right behind him.
Yeah, you got it right, Kenny. It was a pretty clean start back here with, boy, a real hole shot by John Sportelli, who picked up 7 spots off the start.
That is incredible. Let's see. Yep, up to P13, driving that Ferrari 575 GTC, and he has got himself a whole handful of Gregory Myers. As these boys come down the Mulsanne Straight, the first part of Mulsanne.
David Poole off, caught the curb there, is dropping like a stone.
Oh. Yep. Gets dropped back to P11. As your leaders now come into the second Mulsanne chicane. Alex White just seems to be holding it together, holding really good lines.
Whoa, little bit of contact farther back with Marty Uran and Chris Moses. As Chris Moses has passed Marty Uran in the chicane, but Marty quickly caught up to him to give him a little love tap.
Woo, and we've got P's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all bunched up together as they go through the Mulsanne corner.
That is intense racing out there with Rich Roman and John Ludden side by side.
Chris Moses making his way up to P6. Oh, Rich Roman and John Ludden. John almost forcing Rich Roman off the track there.
Big slide by Aaron Parsons in front of Ludden.
Gives Ludden the opportunity to pull up right on him. Brad Maris, I think, has looked in his rearview mirror and saw that mess going on. He's starting to check out from that pack, saying, I want no part of this.
Yeah, that's way too intense. Brad's got a little bit of breathing room, and time for Brad to put the hammer down and just try and gap these guys a little more. But you know, Brad's going to be focused out front into Alex White and try to keep pace up front. Now a little farther back, Chris Moses got his hands full with Marty Uran.
Yep, they're battling it out for P6. Chris Moses, Rich Roman, Marty Uren, all battling it out. And looks like Chris Moses may have a little bit of pace on Roman. Takes a look on the inside as they come through the S's.
Yeah, it looks like Chris has got him easy there. But we a little farther back, and I don't mean a long ways back, Kenny. I mean a little farther back. We have got Big Al Merriman and Andre Prado closing in on this group.
Boy, so it's going to be about a 6-way battle for one's position, and not too far behind them, David Poole, who has now made his way back up into 10th. John Sportelli has made his way up to 11th.
Yeah, and he got around Gregory Myers, but Greg is chasing him down.
John Houston in 13th, Gup Douglas in 14th, Jonathan Cupp at 15, Wathen in 16th, Werner 17, Heyman 18, Johnny Mac McIntyre in 19th, and Sergio Calderon in 20th. But Alex White, having checked out from the rest of the field, has already opened
yeah,
up a
but
6-second gap.
Yeah, but right behind them, we got a great battle going on for P2, and that's Aaron Parsons is closed up on Brad Maris. And boy, Aaron must have that thing trimmed right out because he is going to pull Maris on this straightaway.
Yep, and it's going to be to their benefit, I believe, that should they keep it clean and together, they may make up some ground on the White Lightning.
Well, that would be the smart money, but
Prado
no way.
into the fence.
Parsons went by him.
Andres Prado goes into the fence, drops a couple of positions, and now has Sportelli on his tail.
Wow, we've had a tight battle up there. We got Maris, we got Parsons, but John Ludden tucked up behind that McLaren, and it looks like the Pagani is going to try and pull, but no, he can't. He can't do it.
Well, he broke the draft.
Parsons has got that trimmed out.
Yep, he needed to keep tucked in behind Parsons if he had any ambitions of getting by him, because Parsons, no doubt.
But Moses is right in behind, and he is going to take advantage of this because I think Chris has got that thing trimmed right out.
Yeah, no doubt. These guys are driving their cars right on the edge tonight, Jack. Right on the edge.
Holy crap. Excuse my language. We've got Roman, Moses, Ludden, Parsons, and Maris. Although White is sort of checked out on these, we have got a 5-way battle for P2 going on here.
On board with Rich Roman, who's bringing up the rear of this field right now, getting a bird's eye view of everything that's going on up ahead of him. My goodness. Roman pulling right up on Moses' bumper.
Just a little farther back, Kenny, and I don't mean too much farther either, folks. P7 is being challenged by David Poole, who's sitting in P8. So Big Al Merriman in P7 in the Ferrari 550. Poole is all over his tail, too. So we got some great racing going on all over the track.
And don't count out P9, Andres Prado. He is carrying around 132 pounds of success ballast, but he is no slouch with all of them rocks sitting in his car.
Well, again, the action's so intense here. I know it's going to be hard, folks, to keep track of it. But right behind them is John Sportelli, who's closing the gap up on this gaggle in front of him. So we got a 4-way battle here going for... it looks like P6 right now.
Sportelli, having started in P20, he brought up the rear of the field and already 10 spots down, and he is just moving. He's hauling. He's hauling the mail tonight.
Yep, I'm just a little farther back in the pack there, Kenny, to keep you updated. Jonathan Cuppett coming up on Wathen, and boy, Cuppett has got that. Corvette is going down the straight like a rocket and just pulls Houston like Houston. Nope, Houston is coming back at him, so didn't quite enough to pull the trigger, but we got good battles going everywhere.
Yep, I had jumped on board with Jonathan Cuppett, and boy, that Corvette, no doubt, is stretching its legs down these straights, but Wathen able to pull away a little bit now because he was better in the corners.
Talking about pulling away, Werner has just been blown by Marty Uren in the Ferrari F40.
So Marty Uren now in the last points paying position, which what would normally be the last points paying position, but this is a qualifying race, so no points for 16th tonight until the feature race. But yeah, he gets right by Werner. John McIntyre with
You know,
Sergio Calderon all over him.
this is absolutely nutty. We're just going into lap 3, and Alex White has got an 11.5-second lead over the field.
Yeah, that he does. He is just walking away with this one. So much for our picks for the night. I mean, anything can happen, right? But if he keeps it this way, he's walking away with it. He's taking it like he stole it.
So we got Moses in second, hounded by Roman, hounded by London. Aaron Parsons trying to keep up with his breakaway pack. Al Merriman into 6th, Brad Maris in 7th, Pole in 8th, Sportelli up to 9th, and Prado in 10th. What a wild dash for the cash.
Yeah, you're not kidding. And Prato, with some aero damage, nonetheless, he is pushing as hard as he can, trying to get up on Sportelli's bumper, but Sportelli had gotten around Prato for that position. So Sportelli driving like a man on a mission tonight. Now, with David Poole in his sights, gonna look to put Poole down another position.
Even farther back in the pack, we've got McIntyre in 7th, 17th, Cuppet in 18th, and Calderon in 19th. These guys are all driving like it's for the win, so great intense competition here for our GT1 race tonight.
On board with John Wathen, who's got Marty Uren all over his tail. Marty looking inside and outside, not able to put the pass on Wathen, but he's going to start tucking up on his bumper, try and get that pull necessary to get by him for P13. Oh, and Wathen spins it. Marty Uren takes it off the track, and that is going to give advantage to Andrew Werner, who now moves up into P14. John McIntyre rejoins in P15. Boy, oh boy. And now Marty Uren driving around these guys as if they're standing still. Doesn't look like he's too happy about what just happened.
Well, probably not, but these guys are pushing.
And now it looks like Wathen parked it. Yep, it looked like he may have broken something. No, he took a DNF.
Well, back out in front, of course, it is still Alex White, but in P2 is Chris Moses and Rich Roman. But Rich is not away from anything yet because he has got John Ludden all over him. So Rich has got to keep his nose down and keep focused on the car in front of him, which is Chris Moses.
Jack, I got to tell you, these guys are just laying it all on the line here tonight. Next week's feature race, they are thinking they want to have the best starting position that they possibly can have to kind of try and run away with it. I don't think it's going to be a runaway, but nonetheless, they want to start towards the front. Racing tends to be a little bit cleaner up there.
Whoa, John Sportelli has just spun it. He has lost a position. Lost 2 positions.
Oh,
so
Gup
Myers
Douglas
got by him.
Hard into the tire barrier. I think that Gup is done. I am not sure, but boy, he went hard into the tire barrier.
He is moving, but not moving very well. He's got her going again. Keep her going, Gupper.
Let's see. Might he? He's up to 150 miles an hour. Don't think he's got a puncture of any kind. Then again, he might.
So we got David Poole in 8th, Maris in 7th, and Al Merriman in 6th. They're all tight in together. Ludden in 4th, Roman in 3rd, Roman way wide, big slide in 3rd, and Chris Moses hanging on to second.
Great battle between Al Merriman and Brad Maris for P6. Moving up the field, Aaron Parsons, P5. John Ludden all over the tail of Rich Roman, not letting him get away. But Moses laying down the gauntlet here tonight in P2.
Well, laying down the gauntlet, let me just let you know. We've got Alex White throwing down 341s, and he's a 341.019 on his last lap. If this guy slaps down anything below that, it is probably going to be a track record.
And we're going to pull his car into scrutineering and tear it apart for 800 laps. And no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the fenders will fall off if he goes sub 340s.
Yeah, you're not kidding, man. I mean, we all know that the Saleen SR7 is a very, very quick car, but man, this is something else. Al Merriman with a little bit of breathing room from David Poole and Brad Maris. Brad Maris dropping back down to 8th. Andres Preto in 9th. So Anger Racing now probably going to team up and start drafting each other around this track. I see Brad Maris tucking in behind David Poole. Gonna look on the inside. No, gonna look on the inside, or is that the outside? That's the outside, and he's gonna get it done. But Poole not letting it go just yet.
Nope, let's see if David Poole can come back. And Moses and Roman are still, nose to tail. They're less than a quarter of a second apart from each other. So these guys are definitely going at it. Ludden and Parsons in tight together as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Moses and Roman managed to pull out a little bit of a gap on Ludden and Parsons. Not sure what happened there, but...
Brad Maris taking a good look at David Poole.
Not quite close enough yet.
Yep.
Sportelli back up to 10th. Houston in 11th. Marty Uren back in 12th. Looks like Marty's got a little bit of aero damage on the front of that car, no doubt. Slowing his lap times down. Sergio Calderon, P13. Battling it out with John McIntyre. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there is some great battles going on all the way through, folks. We've got Cuppet, Douglas, and Heyman back there battling for the final points paying position, P16.
Yep, that indeed. Werner takes a DNF. He's out. Back on board with your leader, Alex White. Man, Alex is just running away with this thing. Incredible lines that he's holding.
Yeah, 20 seconds. Just crazy stuff out there. Crazy stuff. And that's lap 5, so they're in their last lap now.
That indeed. This is the last lap, so we know that Alex White is probably going to run away with this one, no doubt. But a lot of great racing still going on.
P2 is not decided yet. I mean, the two of them are right nose to tail.
Yep, I think that Ferrari has a little bit more on the infield through the turns, and I believe that the Corvette may have just a wee bit more down the straights. But Moses topping out at 199 miles an hour coming down the first part of Mulsanne Street. Incredible for these GT1 cars.
And just a tad farther back, we've got Ludden and Parsons. Ludden with a big bobble off the tires, and Parsons goes through for P4.
Wow. Wow. Incredible. Merriman, Big Al, and David Poole.
Yep, still intense up here. You know, we got Roman and Maris, and you're right. You know, I can see that Corvette is closing on the Ferrari 550, but just Rich is going to have to tuck in so tight in behind him to try and gain an advantage on the straight as they both go into that corner. Pretty much evenly matched.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But Moses will not make it easy for Roman to get by him. No way, no how. Moses wants it just as bad as anybody else does here tonight.
Yeah, and you know, Rich is going to have to stay focused and not try and outbreak himself.
Alex White Lightning running away with it all. On board with your leader as he comes through the last of the infield section before catching the checkered flag. And that'll do it. Alex White, your winner.
Chris Moses coming into the final sector with Rich Roman still chasing him down.
Yes, sir. We are on board with Mr. Moses. Trying to keep it clean. Oh, Rich pulling up right on him. But Moses is going to get it done. P2. Rich Roman in P3. Aaron Parsons will come across in 4th. Ludden in 5th. Al Merriman in 6th, followed by David Poole in P7. Brad Maris in 8th. John Sportelli getting around Prado for 9th. John Houston in 10th. Marty Uren in 11th. And Andres Prado getting pushed back to 12th. Boy, I got to tell you that ballast, and again, you know, I believe it played into his strategy, but that ballast certainly having an effect here tonight. Sergio Calderon.
Sergio in 13th, a great run for Sergio, getting a late charge on by Greg Myers.
Yes, sir. And John McIntyre will bring it across in P15. Gup Douglas 16th. Jonathan Cuppet will take 16. Gup in 17th, and we still have folks racing. Jack Bjorn Heyman's still out there. Will end up in 17th once he passes the start-finish line.
Yeah, that was quite the effort there from Alex White, I will say.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, I got to tell you. And that is everybody. So that's it, Jack. What do you think?
Well, Kenny, we've got Alex White, your race winner tonight. Alex, wow. Was that a slap to the field tonight, or were you just trying to make a statement that the White Lightning's back?
It was me with a very, very good car and a very, very good setup.
Well, I think your car had a very, very good driver. I can't believe it. You were running 341s. I didn't know. I was looking for it. I thought you were going to break into the 340s and that the bodywork would start flying off the car.
I was trying to get into the 340s, but I got close. But
Well, I have to ask this, Alex. Is this the performance that we are expecting to see from you next week in the 3-hour feature race?
oh, the car will have a bit more fuel next week, and depends on the temperature as well. Because I had the radiator really closed off. It was at 2, I think. So the car will probably be a bit slower. Hopefully not too much though. Also, the tyre wear was really quite low as well, so I could really just push the car and not really care about tyre wear. It was pretty nice.
Nice, very nice. Well, congratulations on your win once again. It was a dominating performance tonight.
Thank you very much. I look forward to watching the broadcast, as usual.
Thanks, Alex. As Kenny said, that was just insanely fast, and I don't know how you do it, but congratulations. You're definitely one of the most brilliant drivers I've ever seen in this league and in this game. So congratulations, and I'll drop you back into the chat channel.
No worries, thank you very much.
Take care.
Cheers.
So, Jack, final thoughts? Any predictions for next week's race?
Yeah, Alex put on a definite clinic, but the two drivers we picked, Moses and Roman, I'm not going to count them out for the 3-hour finale. I wasn't kidding when I said Alex is probably one of the top drivers I've ever seen, but boy, oh boy, Moses and Roman sure put on a good show tonight, and they're going to be right there in this 3-hour finale. And in 3 hours with 2 pit stops, anything can happen.
You are absolutely right, and you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited about it. Season 22, a season of a lot of firsts here, and you guys have seen it week after week here in the GT1 broadcast. So for Jack Ivy, I'm Ken Rodriguez, and I want to thank you all for watching, and we will do it again one more time. Season 22 finale next week, 3-hour broadcast, so don't miss it.
Good night, Kenny, and we will be back at you next Thursday night. 8 o'clock next week, folks. Don't forget, it's an 8 o'clock start.
That indeed. Good night, all.